issue here isn't her friends owning the guy, accepting free training, being a herself, getting triggered about not being introduced. That's not the issue. The root cause of this issue as to why I'm talking to you guys in the first place is are too comfortable with airing out their grievances when they're in the wrong. My friends, we have a pandemic of stupidity, lack of awareness, and lack of accountability. All right, let's go back to this. So this woman here clearly is living like in a fantasy world. So let's get into this.
Very much keep men at an arm's length and a distance at all time. But he was like, you know, if you ever want to go on a date, I am feeling you. I was like, I know you were attracted to me because, again, I'm not stupid. But I'm like, let's do the gym thing. I think this is good. I'm not really looking to, date right now. We're just going to be gym buddies. So we're in the gym today, right? We're doing our workout. Everything's going well. And then there was this woman that approached him. So I don't say nothing. I just kind of looked at her. Now, she did look my way, and she was like, hey, I saw you. And I was like, oh, my God, that's my dad. Turns out the woman is his daughter. Now, we had just talked about the daughter. I think the first time we worked out, we talked about the daughter. So I'm familiar with her. She's not familiar with me, right? So they're having about a 3-minute conversation. They chopping it up, as they should. But at no point during this conversation did he even look over to me, or did he even say, oh, hey, that's my friend Sheila. We're working out. Simple. We're gym buddies. All you could have did was introduce me. But you didn't. So
why does that matter?
He walks away, and he kind of seems like we're about to continue this workout. To which I got off the machine, and I was like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with that. I felt very unseen. Like, we're platonic friends, and you could have just introduced me. Now, you did express romantic interest, and with you having romantic interest, you should have for sure introduced me. Which lets me know, like, are you hiding something? You ashamed of me? Because I'm that girl. What you got to be ashamed of? What you hiding me for? I can't be hidden. I show up too big. I thought about interjecting myself, but why would I do that? This is your daughter. You two were having a conversation. You could have just simply turned to me and said, hey, this is Sheila. This is so-and-so. So it lets me...
Bro, this thinks she's the main character, bro. Like, this is annoying. Like, look, can you make the argument, like, it is a little socially awkward to not introduce her? Sure, you can make that argument. But to get in a car, sit down and complain about it, like, bro, like, it could be a little weird, but, like, to get on TikTok and make a whole video about this is weird.
You're not ready for me. If we were to date, you're not the type of man that I need you to be. Because if you express a little romantic interest in me, there was no way that you shouldn't have introduced me to your daughter. You're not trying to for whatever reasons. I don't have time to figure out why. I don't care the reason why.
Oh, now, see, interesting. She only cares because she's getting rejected. Or, like, not getting the attention that she wants, bro. Not a big deal at all.
I'm gone. Because you asked me to be here. You reached out to me. You were like, hey, I'm adamant about working out with you. If it was platonic.
And, bro, like, this is why I don't work out with women. A lot of people say, yo, Myron, like, take girls out on gym dates, man. You can do that, blah, blah. Yo, I don't like working out with bro. Number one, they're lazy. Number two, they're annoying. Number three, I'm not trained for free. I'm good. I refuse to do that shit. Refuse. Even when I had a fitness business, I used to charge women more, bro. Facts. Yep. I used to charge women a little bit more, bro. It wasn't nothing crazy, but like, yo, I do not like training women. They're the worst, bro. They're the worst. And any coach will tell you, they're annoying as they're the worst clients. They're lazy. It all hurts. They feel like they don't got to pay you and shit like that, bro. I don't want to deal with them, bro.
It could have been an introduction.
Like this over here getting trained for free, and she's mad that this nigga didn't introduce her to her daughter. Like, what? He just played your game back. You want to treat him like a platonic friend? Cool. He's going to treat you like a client. He don't got to introduce you to his daughter, nigga. Like, what are you talking about?
Either way, I don't play that game. So I left. It looks like I will be going back to work out by myself. But I'm like, if you couldn't stand up and be a man and be a leader and just introduce in the friend stage, there's no future with us. And if it really were friends, if we truly were friends, you could have introduced me. So I don't.
Yo, this hurt, bro. Honestly, I understand where she's coming from. Like, it is socially awkward, but it's not that big a deal to get on TikTok and make a video. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys when I say women have main character energy, and this is a problem. This is a real issue, right? That we've gotten to a point now in society where people do dumb shit and they know they did dumb shit. And what they'll do is they'll get on the internet, they'll make a video, they'll put it out there, and they know that they're going to get positive reinforcement, even though they did some dumb shit. So they do it anyways. Does that make sense? Let me explain what I mean with this. So here's the thing, right? If you guys notice, when you open up TikTok, how many times are we going to see women in a car, right, record some type of grievance that occurred in their life? Whether it's a guy broke up with them, they're in a weird stage with a guy and they don't know what to do. They are complaining about being single. They're complaining about a social interaction like this where he didn't introduce her to her daughter, guys being creepy, whatever. Like, we have seen this before. Women experience something and they say, you know what? Let me go to the internet and post this. and they post it on the internet. Now, have you guys noticed that men don't really do this? You guys notice this? How often do you see a guy get in a car and complain about some type of situation that occurred to him in life, right? The only time you're going to see a man do that is if it's funny, right? It's entertaining. There's a teachable moment, something like that, right? Let me tell you guys why. The reason why men don't do it is because men know if I turn this camera on and I complain in this car and I look like a moron, there's going to be consequences. There's going to be comments roasting me for days. I'm going to be made a meme. I'm going to go viral for being I'm going to be cooked like no end, right? Men understand that there's always this like possibility, a strong possibility, that we get air fried for saying stupid shit. Women don't experience this. They get on the internet, give their grievances, give their problems, right? And since no one ever makes fun of women or tells them they're stupid or this is or whatever, they feel like it's okay to get in the car and complain, say the dumb shit that they say, because they know that more than likely they're going to get a mountain of validation. And the problem with this is that it doesn't make them better people. Let me explain. We live in a world where women could do no wrong. How do I know that we live in a world where women could do no wrong? Because we've seen hundreds of videos like this, hundreds on TikTok, where women get in a car, right, and complain about their life circumstances. Many of the times, it's a life circumstance that they created for themselves, doing some dumb shit. But since no one ever tells they're stupid, they're wrong, this is bad, horrible take, you need to be held accountable, they feel comfortable doing this. There's a reason why for every 100 videos of women in a car saying some dumb shit like this, you might see one guy in a car saying some dumb shit like that. Because that guy knows he's going to get fried into oblivion. Women, on the other hand, know they're not going to get fried, okay? They know they're not. And if they do get fried, they block all those niggas. Okay? For every one guy that comes in there and says, yeah, you're just a dumb, blocked, gone. They ban certain words, right? Women get rid of like certain words. They have like a strong filter on that shit. You can't even hold these accountable. You can't even cook them like that, right? So it's almost like they make the video, create a funnel where only good comments come to them, and then that positively reinforces bad behavior. And honestly speaking, only women are able to do this. Why? Because women don't deal with consequences. It's simple as that. Women in modern day society don't deal with consequences. If they did deal with consequences, they wouldn't be as rude and as entitled as they are. I'll give you guys an example. Girl comes on a podcast, right? Huge opportunity. A no-name, right? She had been streaming for like a month with clavicular, gets put on whatever. She comes on the show. She makes some comments about the studio being ghetto or some other bullshit like this, right? Instead of appreciating the opportunity that she got, she goes on stream and says this. I don't really give a shit, whatever. But Chris calls her out on it. And then the chat votes, what should they do? Chat 6-1 said, get her the fuck out of here. But I want to let you guys know, there was a sizable amount of people that said, let her stay. I want you guys to really take this in because I'm trying to explain to you guys where we are in society. Girl comes on show, gets a huge opportunity that other streamers would kill for. After said opportunity, she talks shit about the people that put her on. She comes back on platform. Allegedly, a bunch of people hit her up, whatever. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. She comes back on platform. Chris calls her out. Chat votes 6-1, get her out of there. But keep in mind, our audience is somewhat aware of women, hence they watch the show. But there was still a sizable amount of people that said, let her stay. I want you guys to understand this. The people that said, let her stay, that is the majority of men. Let that sink in. The guys that said, let her stay, is the majority of men. So since the majority of men think it's okay to allow women to be disrespectful like that, that is why we have the society that we have. This is why women behave the way that they do. Because unfortunately, a majority of men think it's okay or socially acceptable for women to be disrespectful and rude, even when given opportunities. And to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to see what the chat would say. Now, obviously, a majority said, get her out of here. But a good amount said, don't get her out of here. Which is precisely why we have the problems that we have. Now, why am I talking about this? I'm not saying this to pick on her. I'm saying this to prove a greater point. Because honestly, her behaving the way that she did is a microcosm of a much bigger issue. And the bigger issue is that women can do no wrong in 2026 and beyond. Do you guys get that? This whole like holding women accountable, calling them, making fun of them, roasting them, this is all relatively new within the past couple of years. This is relatively new. And there's pushback against it. We're demonetized on YouTube right now and stay demonetized because they say I am a misogynist. So there's real negative ramifications for making content like this. You get banned on TikTok for saying things like this. You get banned on Instagram for saying things like this. You get demonetized on YouTube for saying things like this. So even though people are slowly waking up, right, to female f***ery, waking up to female f***ery has real-time consequences on you. So who's gonna speak up, realistically speaking? Most are not gonna. Most are not gonna. If you guys remember, I went into a Twitter space a couple weeks ago, just to with some people. I made a comment about need to go back in the kitchen because these two individuals were talking about a woman, right, that got pulled out of a police car and arrested for not wanting to get out the car. And I said, yo, if she was in the kitchen, she would have been fine. They go, started freaking out, okay? Look it up on Twitter. They start losing hell. I mean, if you guys really want me to show, I'll show y'all niggas. Because I really want to highlight this shit for y'all, man. Like, this shit is, like, you guys don't get that, like, we are literally, very few men think the way that we do is the point I'm trying to make here. Here we go, I found it.
I mean, if you want to talk about biology, that's one thing. But as far as, like, situations in
Nigga shit is called spicy coffee talk. Watch these niggas fold.
society, I'm not here to...
And the topic, guys, they were talking about this police video right here. This one, I think it was. Yep, this chick. It was this video right here, right? So this girl's being a pain in the... right? And they pulled her out the car and arrested her, right?
talk about
This is what these are commenting on.
how women are inferior and different things like that.
You're
talking about
literally, bro. Oh, that's just the biological reality, bro.
I mean, if you want to talk about biology, that's one thing. But as far as, like, situations
Because I said she should be in the kitchen, and why the is she there inferior to men biologically, right? This is the nigga's response.
in society, I'm not here to talk about how women are inferior and different things like that.
You're
talking about different
literally
situations.
talking about a woman that got pulled out of a car for being a like quite literally.
Again, we're not going to use word for either. Obviously, we're not doing that type of language. But again, I will tell you, I've told them that what she did in a particular situation was unwarranted and uncalled for. And that's as far as I'm going to take it with her in particular. But it was
Okay,
wrong. What
so
she
yes
did in
or
the
no?
situation was wrong.
Here's the thing. So yes or no? If she was in the kitchen, would have this happened?
What does that have to do with this particular situation?
She shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's my point.
Wow. So listening to your logic, you feel like you shouldn't be driving.
No. Hell
Oh
no.
my Lord. Okay, we can agree to disagree, my guy.
Wait, you think she can drive?
Why not? Why shouldn't they?
Oh shit.
Yeah, we got to agree to disagree, my guy. That's all it is.
Bruh.
Now, why am I showing y'all niggas this? Because this is how average men think, bro, okay? And it continues on, by the way, if you guys care. But, like, yo, like, this is how average niggas think, right? And this is why women are so insufferable. Because sometimes you guys need to watch someone like me talk to a normie, and then you guys say, oh, shit. Okay? Because you're not going to see the disparity and how blue pill people are unless you listen to someone like me talk to a normie. Now, I'll be honest with you niggas, bro. I'm going to be very blunt with you guys. I hate talking to normie men. It's the worst thing ever. It's painful. But every now and then, you guys need to get a reminder on how normal guys think. This is why you guys love it when I'm out there debating people on couch tables or out in the streets or whatever, and these niggas come in and start simping and caping for women, right? It's insane. Insane. When you look at someone like me, talk to a normie guy, you see the disparity real time in 1080p. And then the scary part is, this is how most men think. They don't think like I do. They think over here like, oh, women are equal and they're great. And what do you mean put them in the kitchen? And what do you mean hold them accountable? Why am I telling you all this? To bring it back full circle, remember, this whole topic started with this fat in a car, right? She's complaining basically that a guy showed some interest. She said no, make it platonic, fair. He's working out with her, training her for free, presumably. His daughter shows up. He has a conversation where she's mad he didn't introduce her to his daughter. So the platonic relationship that she wanted, he's kind of reinforcing, and she don't like that shit. And then the worst part of this is that this is a very minor thing. It's a very minor social cue, whatever. It's a minor grievance. She gets on the internet and makes a whole video about it. The issue here isn't her friend zoning the guy, accepting free training, being a fat herself, getting triggered about not being introduced. That's not the issue. The root cause of this issue as to why I'm talking to you guys in the first place is women are too comfortable with airing out their grievances when they're in the wrong. Do you guys now understand? Are too comfortable with airing out their grievances when they're in the wrong. Men don't have this problem. We know we're in the wrong. And even when they're right, we're not going to put the video out a lot of the times. Why? Because the consequence of being roasted hurts more than the potential validation we might get. Men understand that we live in a cold world where no one gives a about us, we get made fun of, we are roasted, even if we are in the right and we make a video. There's a high likelihood we're still going to get roasted. So we're not doing it. On the other hand, are constantly wrong, do dumb shit all the time, and still post on the internet about their stupid shit. Why do they do that? Because we live in a gynocentric social order. What does this mean? This means that the female way of thinking, even if it's wrong, is considered right. Again, the female way of thinking is considered right, even if it's wrong. And very few men understand this, can explain this, and articulate it the way that I am. So much so, I had to make 2 books on the topic. That's how much of a problem this shit is. Because this is like the 1,000th TikTok video I've seen now where a woman is sitting in a car. She's clearly the problem, but she's still making a video as if she's not the problem. My friends, we have a pandemic of stupidity, lack of awareness, and lack of accountability. And not enough men are willing to call it out, as you guys saw in that Twitter space. Unfortunately, very few men call this out. Why? Because it's financially taxing. It's difficult. You have to be aware. You have to deal with being called a woman hater. You have to deal with being called or a misogynist or some other term. But they can never call you a liar. And this is why people hate me. That's why they hate me. None of my detractors can call me a liar. They just call me a misogynist, a racist, or whatever term they want to use. But this is a serious problem. And if you don't believe me, how many men are on TikTok complaining in a car over some dumb shit that they did? Very few. Very few. But every other day, I see some dumb complaining in a car about a problem that she contributed to significantly or is the root cause of. And the reason why she does it is because women get validation on the internet for their stupid behavior because no one wants to call them out. I mean, the perfect example is the Twitter space. I go into a normal Twitter space. These guys are addressing a woman getting pulled out of a car for not obeying orders from a cop. And they're like, yeah, this is really bad, blah, blah. But they're not addressing the root issue. They're not addressing the root issue. Yes, her behavior was bad. Yes, she was entitled. Yes, she should have complied with them. Yes, she didn't follow lawful orders. But let's talk about the why. Let's not talk about the why. That's up. Now we're getting into misogyny world. Now we're getting into this is bad. We can't talk about this part, right? No, it's because women are insufferable. That's why. You're taking a naturally narcissistic, solipsistic individual. They have an insane amount of power, an insane amount of influence. We've created the trifecta of doom, which is the smartphone, social media, interconnectivity, and a high-level camera, the quadfecta, and we've created a monster. That monster is the modern woman who deals with no accountability, who has unprecedented access to the international world via the internet, aka thousands upon thousands of Sims that will tell her that she's right no matter what. And this is why sometimes it feels like, I'm sure many of you guys notice this, when you talk to women, doesn't it seem like they're in another world? Bomba. Have you guys ever noticed that? When you talk to females, it's like they live in a different universe. Now, most people can't put their finger on why. But that is why. That is why they can come on the show and look so stupid. As a matter of fact, a lot of you niggas love the show because you guys are able to see real time someone that understands women talking to and showing how stupid they really are in 1080p. And this is something that was never shown before. This is why it blew up in popularity, because we're all dealing with the same problems with women, but some of us can't put our finger on it. Some of us don't have the ability to put our finger on it. Some of us can't articulate it. Some of us don't have a show to talk about it. Some of us don't want to get fired. There's so many different obstacles that stand in our way to addressing this problem. So when you turn on YouTube and you're scrolling through and you see these dumb Canadian Anus and Reach talk about, yeah, these guys bring women on their show and like hold them accountable, whatever. You're like, man, I'm tired of watching these dingy niggas. Let's see what these niggas are doing. And then you see me on a panel and you absolutely watch me destroy them, right? You're like, oh shit, this nigga's saying what I've always been thinking. Oh my God, wow, holy shit. And then everything clicks. Because you guys are watching female in 1080p in 2026 finally being tested with logic. That's why the girls feel so bad after the show sometimes. That blonde cried after. That goes to show what I've been telling y'all niggas. No one ever tells these they're stupid. No one ever tells these girls they're wrong. No one ever tells these girls, hey, have you ever thought about this? No one ever tells them, do you understand that, you're saying you're a Christian girl, but you don't submit, you don't want to obey? That doesn't make sense. No, not the Russian girl, the girl before that, the one from Oregon. The one saying, I'm saving myself or some bullshit like that. She was really distraught after the show. But this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. This is the new normal. And the example I gave with the other girl who came on the show after disrespecting the show, and then a bunch of people saying, like, let her stay on, is a perfect demonstration of what I'm trying to say. The only reason she got kicked off the show was because our chat is fairly red-pilled on women. But if she was on any other show, niggas would have said, let her stay on. Who cares if she talks shit about niggas? Who cares? Let her stay on. And the only reason she talks shit in the first place is because she's a woman. You guys get that? That's why. You don't have to work hard for anything. She got put on immediately to streaming with a big streamer and like, oh, I'm special, even though she's not. So she didn't value it. She comes on the show, talks shit about the show, a show that many other people would kill to be on because she didn't have to bust her ass to get to that point. Versus if we bring men on, right, they're going to appreciate that shit way more. Very rarely do we bring guys on the show and they talk shit about the show after the fact. There's consequences for that shit, right? They get roasted, they get called the snake, whatever it may be. But when women come on and they leave, they talk shit about the show every time. Why? Because women aren't used to earning anything. They come on and think they're the stars when they're not at all. But this is the society that we're in now. Women that offer no value, have no real skills, anything, think they're on par with guys that actually do because they live in a fantasy world.